Simak. Mazoea.
Guten Morgen.
Hello.
Good morning. Habari za asubuhi. Oyaureu. Nirembe. Mwakire. I am multilingual. And now you all know it. Shikamo.
Maraizo zote.
Welcome everybody to another edition of
episode of that show.
That show.
Na hii ngware yote. Saa 2 asubuhi tuliwaambia tunakuanga hapa on the dot. On the dot nani. Yani kama kuna mtu bado amelala muamshe. Mwambie hiyo show imeanza. Tell them that show is here. That crew of AfroFabb
Night Atieno
wamefika
na DJ Roy.
Amsheni hao watu waamke. Watu wapige story. Si ndio? Hope you guys had a great weekend. Yani weekend ilikuwa murwa. Weather ilituconfuse hapa kidogo lakini ilikuwa tu sawa.
Sifadhali nyinyi mko na luxury ya kusema weather. I didn't notice what the weather was like. I was that busy. I have not had a weekend. What I need, what I really need, is 2 days.
Is a weekend.
No, not a weekend.
A weekend can be any time of the week.
I don't care what I don't care. I just
Bana upate tu just 2 days.
72 hours sana.
Trust me, it will fika a point it will be too much. It will be too much. Itakuja ikwe mzigo sasa. But yeah, ilikuwa poa kidogo. Weather imetuchenga. Rumor or the myth is January kuna kwanga tunajua. Shock on our diabs, my friend. Na kwa mvua imekuja imeleta stars hapo hivyo lakini who am I? I'm not even complaining. Ile vumbi ilikuwa hapa nje. I was tired. Flew 2 weeks. But
for me,
as
all I can say is I'm always happy to be alive.
Bas.
I don't got nothing to complain about. Zero. Nothing. Anyway, today tunaongea juu ya mental wellness. For me, the thing that keeps me stable is being on time. I hate being late. I hate it fills me with anxiety.
Before you came in, we were talking about time. For some reason, I don't know what was happening.
You lot thought I was gonna be late.
No, trust me.
You lot thought I was gonna be late.
Oh, that's not even close to it. Like, have you ever experienced a time like when you feel like time has slowed down?
No.
Okay. You will explain it to me. Unafanya vitu like your kawaida, like you've woken up, you have your day planned out, you know what you're supposed to do, sindio? Lakini unafanya vitu na unaona ni kama unasonga kimatrix.
No, explain it.
I don't know, that's the best way I can explain. Like you're moving slowly, you're doing your things and you check the time, you're like, yeah, but I'm on time. Lakini mwili yako ina feel ni kama inaenda slower than normal. See,
I cannot relate.
This one I had to ask out loud because I was like, "Ay, hapana,
people, hapo kwa nini? Kwa comments please.
Yeah, kama ushaifeel ni kama like unafanya vitu lakini unaenda slow mo, like literally unaenda slow.
I don't even understand how people can feel that they're going in slow motion when my day starts like this.
Yeah, so
and it goes.
So nakwambia, you've woken up on time, you know everything of yours is kule inafaa kukua, hata time iko tu sawa. Ukiangalia like it's just 15 minutes that has passed, but I feel like I've done
but
too many things. But time haisongi, like I'm like, okay, miss, you understand. See, understand. Within 15 minutes you've finished everything you're meant to do, but it feels like everything is going slow.
You probably need more things to do. To me, okay, for me,
yes,
my brain, how my brain is understanding this thing.
Yes.
And we all understand things differently.
True.
Yeah. My brain processes what you're saying as you haven't got enough things to do in that day. Because if you're busy doing all these things and running around doing this, that, and the other, you haven't got time to think it's going too slow. Literally, you're wishing for more hours in the day.
It's your body that's going
No.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Your maneno, my body is going slow.
Nikipata hizo words ndakueleza.
No, na understand kile unasema. Si ati
understand kile nasema. Unajua hata mimi mwenyewe si understand.
So basi unasema nini? This is a waste of time.
Night Atieno.
Kwa sababu watu wengine wako na hiyo luxury ya kusema ati sijui siku inaenda pole pole. Anyway, let's talk about mental health.
Siku ikienda pole pole best ya una vitu za kufanya.
Hiyo sio nasema. Sasa nyinyi wenye mnaona ati ni kama hiyo siku ina drag.
Again,
ongezeni vitu.
Haujaelewa kwa sababu hata mimi sija understand nini.
So basi mimi niko mnasema. Anyway, mental health wellness. Let me maintain my mental health by not partaking in this discussion any further. I don't want insanity. Insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results.
For a second, it sounds like insanity.
Mtu akikuexplain kitu hata yeye understand. Hiyo conversation. Kusema tu kweli. Sio tu ni waste time anyway.
DJ Roy. Utabaka kwa story baadaye kwa sababu
sita partake. I will not take part in that conversation whatsoever. I refuse to waste my time. Good morning, Anna Ogada. Mental health wellness. I think the first thing we need to think about is like what is mental health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like mental wellness is like a positive state of health, of mental health. You know, it's more than just the absence of mental illness. When we talk about mental wellness, it's actively either avoiding mental illness or things that really put our brains into stress and promoting those behaviors and habits that maintain like a good balance for you, because it's different for everyone.
True.
You know,
True.
Some people might thrive on a certain amount of stress, whereas others will find that too much and break down. You know, like if some people tell you the stuff that they've been through and they're still standing and smiling, you go, "Hello, you know." Good morning, Tamara. Tamara, back me up. I know you get me. I want to really join on your So I think it's important that when we talk about mental health and mental wellness, people don't just look at it as mental illness.
It doesn't have to be illness. It's just your mental state of being.
It's a positive state of mental well-being. That is mental wellness. So it's like a lot of times when we say anything mental, people just go negative. You know what I mean? So I think we need to start normalizing talking about mental health.
True.
We need to start normalizing saying I'm not okay. Well, actually, it's not okay to say I'm not okay all the time. No, you can't just be not okay all the time. I'm sorry, but come on. Take some personal responsibility and find out what the hell is going on. You know what I mean? It's not always easy.
True.
Yeah?
True.
but it's doable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Huwezi shinda wewe uko na shida sayole.
Mimi nakuanga na, because there are people who actually enjoy dwelling.
It's a crutch for them.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, unajua mimi nakuanga. Oh, you know, I'm always like this. I've always been like this.
Yeah.
Sweetie. Fine, you're not okay. You know what's making you not okay.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Ujaribu vile utajitoa kwa hiyo noma. Unaona? Because the fact that you've decided that you want to keep complaining or talking about it, that means you know what it is and you're refusing to solve it.
I think it's very difficult, to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair. It's very difficult to accept that we have a problem.
True.
Especially when we have stress. And very often it's very difficult to even pinpoint what the problem is.
Exactly.
Azikujangi moja moja. Saa zingine zinakuja kama 10. You know?
Well.
Like shida azikujangi moja moja. Like they come
holding hands.
Sometimes they come at you with their relatives. Wanakujaga kama wajaluo wale wa kitambo. Mtu anatoka ushago na watoto wake wa 10 anakuja na sofa yake anataka shida za zingine zikuja. You know? And I'm not saying that, I'm not trivializing mental health illnesses.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is shida ziko.
Yeah.
Shida yetu saa zingine ni hatutaki kudeal na hizo shida.
True.
Sometimes it's too painful. Sometimes it's too hard. Sometimes we're stuck in a comfortable position where kuna mtu hapo anakuonea huruma. Sasa unataka kuimilk. You know what I mean? There's somebody carrying you. So now you want to milk it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we have to be, again, like with everything else, like with financial stuff, like with relationships, like with everything else, we have to take stock.
True.
We have to say, okay, where do I draw the line here? You know, how low do I want to sink? You know? Yeah. Because we all sink sometimes.
Why? Sink too. And it's like you're holding on to an anvil and heading uko chini. So you most times you know what's happening to you, but how to get out of it sometimes is usually tricky, because tumesema it is not easy. Yani unaona kwa noma, you're trying to find your way out, you're trying to claw out of it, but ni guano. I suggest that just keep trying. If you need to ask for help, ask for help. I know for many people asking for help is not easy. Asking for help is not easy, but just try. Yeah, eventually there's going to be someone out there who's going to help sort you out and is going to listen to you and at least walk this journey with you. If you need to get out of your normal space and approach somebody neutral, when yakujui amjuani kabisa, enda. Because sometimes we find it hard opening up to people we know, because ni hard.
I think what I can say on this matter is there's not always going to be a savior.
True.
Sometimes you hit rock bottom and there's no one there and there's nothing, and you look up and you call out and there's no one, and you put your hand out.
Hello.
And you call out and there's no one, and you're stuck in a hole and there's nobody, but you're surrounded by people. You know, I say there's nobody because sometimes people can't help you, and especially when you don't even know what's wrong with you. You know, like you can't even articulate what's going on. You know, so very often, yes, it's good to share, it's good to talk if it's overburdening you, but also sometimes we need to just sit in a corner and say, right, what is it that is bugging me? Write down, kama ni vitu tano, 5 things, 3 things, 4 things, 10 things, however many they are, just write a list and say, these are the things that are making me upset right now. These are the things that are making me anxious right now. Because it's not always easy to ask for help. And when you feel like you can't ask for help, perhaps you should think about helping yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sit down, write it down, articulate it. Say, I feel like this because of this. When you can understand it, then you can explain it to the people around you. They might not be able to help, but they might be able to catch you some slack. You know what I mean? I have lost a dear friend, so therefore I am grieving. People won't understand how you grieve for somebody who is alive, but you're grieving for your friendship. You know? You have had a relationship end. You go through grief. You know? And very often we don't even know that we are going through grief. You know? Very often we just feel low. But then this thing might come with something else. It might come during a time that perhaps you've lost your job. Business is not going well. Maybe someone is ill that you know. Or perhaps your child is a candidate this year. Or perhaps you're going through a particularly rough patch with your spouse. You know what I mean? So all these things compounded. Money is tight. You know, all these things compound this grief. You know, so you might not
activate
exactly pay attention to this grief when really and truly what you need to deal with is the loss of your friendship, because it's the loss of your friendship that compounds everything else. It makes everything else seem worse. You know, it makes you feel like you're going to die. You know, like when you were a teenager and someone dumps you and you feel like the end of the world is coming. Sometimes we can feel like that with adult relationships, but we tell ourselves, "Watch out, Toto." We mustn't do things like that because it's a valid emotion.
We need to deal with those emotions.
You know what I mean?
Because you suppress them, then they become toxic. Utafika mahali, it's just been bubbling under, then eventually you lose your friend or you lose something else, and then now you start letting out your emotions on the wrong
you
thing.
Start bleeding on people who never hurt you. Because hurt people. They do. It's bad. You know?
Realize
misery loves company.
Loves company.
So we have to really think very carefully about what is it that is actually upsetting me right now, you know?
And deal with it.
You know? So like we can ask ourselves the question, like, what is mental health hygiene? Like it's implementing regular practices that foster good mental health. You know? A few things that we can do are like practicing mindfulness. So basically meditating, maybe doing something like yoga, doing whatever it is that makes praying, reading the Bible, if that's what Quran or whichever holy Bible or holy book that's or whatever faith you ascribe to, like doing stuff like that. If that calms you down, if that makes you, gives you peace, then perhaps do that regularly, you know? Managing your stress, you know what I mean? Like I know for myself, when my stress is at a high, my skin gets really bad, you know? So I have to think about it. When my skin starts getting bad, I think, right, what is it that is stressing me right now? How can I deal with that stress? Is it something I can do something about right now? Probably. Okay.
If you can.
What can I do? If it's something I can't do anything about,
by the way, you know, it's important. There's some things we just can't. You're like, okay, imekuwa, let's wait for it to play itself out. Ikishaisha itaisha iende. It's not going to be there forever.
Exactly.
Because another thing people should learn how to do is to take a break. Because sometimes always going.
What is that?
Exactly. That's why your skin breaks out, because you're doing everything, and
I have no choice sometimes.
Eventually now your skin starts shouting at you. It's like, chick, are you going to take a break now? How about now? And now. So you should know when to take a break. Taking a break doesn't mean stopping entirely. Unakaa tu chini, unasema okay, sawa, wacha nisonge hapa kando, at least ni rest kidogo. It's just
sometimes
resting.
Rest is not about stopping, it's doing something different. You know what I mean?
No. Get out of this and get into this just to rest from this.
That's it.
No. It doesn't mean that you've stopped doing this just because you've moved to the other side. Doesn't mean that you've forgotten about this. If you need to finish this, if you hadn't finished it, you'll come back to it later. No. Si ati lazima okocho, no?
Yeah. And other things we can practice are like sleeping better.
Yeah.
So better sleep hygiene. Yeah. You know, like a lot of us now with the gadgets and everything, we tend to bring our phones to bed, our gadgets to bed. We have TVs in our bedrooms. We have things that are not conducive to a good sleep environment and good sleep hygiene, you know. So I think we really need to think about, how do I sleep? You know what I mean? And for this as well, we need to think about moving regularly. You know, even if we're sitting at a desk, get up every hour for maybe a couple of minutes. Like just go, stretch, take a walk, you know, have some water, because that's also good for,
go to the water cooler.
Keeping you hydrated, chat to somebody, you know, like keep regular contact with friends, not just all friends. See marafiki wale watu wa
makasiriko kukuletea mzigo, please.
Exactly. You know, there are people who just bring you down. You know, there are people who unajua vizuri sana that when I'm in a low place, I don't want to interact with so and so because they make it worse. You know,
it's true, and it's important to
by the way. Now it might not be because they make it worse, because they say the wrong thing. Sometimes it's as simple as they do the wrong thing. They never know the right thing to say when you're feeling bad. You know, so avoid it. Avoid those friends. Relate more with the friends, for example, who lift you up, who share those things in common with you that bring you peace. Again, if you're a praying person, go and interact more with those people. If you're a sports person, interact with your sports people. If you like going out, go out with your mates. You know, just don't drink too much when you're low, because that also makes it worse. You know, there's nothing bad that alcohol never made worse.
Rudia.
There's nothing bad that alcohol never made worse.
Because,
you know, I had to come to the realization that my relationship with alcohol for the last 30 years, and it's been a 30-year relationship, has been toxic. I used alcohol to mask. So therefore I didn't deal with things. And then I used alcohol to let it out. And it came out aggressively, you know. So with therapy, with just self-realization and learning to know myself, I realized that this is a relationship that I had to end, you know. And sometimes when we talk about ending toxic relationships, people think that it's just about ending human relationships. No. You know, you might find that you're addicted to food. You might find that, so therefore maybe you have what's it called, bulimia or other, you know, like food related. Because at the end of the day, we have to remember that overeating is a form of self-harm.
Don't I know that?
You know, when we eat too much, it's a form of self-harm. Why are you punishing yourself? Because you know you're going to feel bad after you've eaten. And then when you feel bad, it's a vicious cycle. Then you eat more. Then you eat more.
Then you eat more. You can't stop eating.
You know, it's like you're trying to fill an empty void that you cannot fill by just eating.
By just eating.
You know? That's why sometimes when we look at people who are overweight, we have to ask ourselves. Because as a wellness coach, as a therapist, I see a lot of people with weight issues. I myself suffered with weight issues at some point, not for very long, but even now I fluctuate, but never as big as 110, 115 kilos like I was before. But at the time, it's like, looking back, I was masking. But what was I masking? What was I hiding
dealing
from?
with those, you're not dealing with the issues that were messing you up, that were putting you down. So you found a way, you're like, food, alcohol, we should be careful. The moment you realize that there's a pattern, because eventually it becomes a pattern. You're like, when you're stressed, you start eating. I've stressed eaten a lot. That's the time. Actually, I usually used to tell people, maybe napenda chakula. My relationship with food is legit, nani.
To be fair, for me, I could take it or leave it. You know, I like sweet things, but like food, I could take it or leave it. Like literally, I can stay a whole day without eating when I'm busy, and I won't feel a thing. Nipatie tu tropical na vitu sweet hivi.
Fermented.
You know. Like if you give me stuff like that, I'll because obviously my body needs energy. You see, and so I have to be very careful, and
you
so
need to know where to draw
exactly.
the line.
And we have to remember that a lot of things are laced with sugar nowadays.
Everything. Me, no, that's how I am with alcohol. Like alcohol is not a must. Like I'd go out because I'd be like, okay, the music is good. Literally, people would be sitting there, they're having like 6 beers at the end of it all. Maybe I've had like 2 beers. Niko tu sawa. Hata hiyo ya pili kumaliza kidogo ni shida. Addiction yangu iko kule kwa muziki, uko kwa speaker. But food, you find that when I'm stressed, like you said, I just eat and eat. It's like there's a hole I'm trying to fill and it's not filling. Uko tu hapo unajaza. Before I used to say it and I never realized that it was really a problem. I used to say that when I'm stressed, because a lot of people, it's usually opposite. When you're stressed, a lot of people lose weight.
That's me. I can lose like 5 kilos in a week.
Easy, like this. Vice versa. Yani,
lakini sitaki shida, please.
That's not an invitation.
I will go to run. Please, problems, stay where you are. I have enough.
Wrong direction. You're not coming here. So you can imagine you're there. I'm just don't go pressure nini. You've tried to sort it. Ama you actually don't know that you have a problem. AfroFabb, munch, monaikula, mkate, nini, mandazi, sweets, cakes, everything. Anything that I can eat, I eat. So you find that ati wewe uko na stress na unatosha nini? I'm like, when I'm stressed, I eat a lot. Because actually I eat and sleep. So of course they go hand in hand. But now at least now I know better. When I see it creeping up on me, I'm like, well, Fabs, whatever it is, deal with it. If it needs to take time, boss changamka. If you need to talk about it, sometimes it's usually hard to talk about it because saa zingine haujui ni nini exactly, ama like unajua ni nini lakini unaogopa kusort. So you'd find that najita mikutano. That's like mdem. Whatever it is, your life has to continue moving on, because if you don't solve it again, it bleeds on to the people around you. No, because now you can imagine.
You start punishing people.
You start punishing people. So it gets to that point. Before it gets bad, don't let it get bad. Sit down. Jiite mikutano, jiite symposium na nini. Solve whatever you need to solve, because most of the time you actually find that it's never actually that big. Inakuwa tu kitu kidogo, but unapata cause unaiogopa, you blow it out of proportion. So
I don't think anything is small. I think what it is why it seems big. Everything is big, but small at the same time. So it's a cumulative effect. Like it's never like just like you said, like when you talk to someone and they tell you about the things they've gone through, you're like, but don't think just because they've gone through more than you that your emotions of anxiety, of feeling helpless, of feeling distraught, of grieving, don't feel like just because someone else's is worse than yours that you should diminish yours. Or you should feel like na kweli sina shida. Uko na shida. Embrace the fact that uko na hiyo shida, and then deal with that problem. Just because someone else's seems bigger, that doesn't mean that yours is not big in your head to you.
I use that to encourage myself.
You know what I mean?
I use that to encourage myself, because I'm like, wow, if you're still standing here and mine looks like as I solve, you like literally that's like a wake up call. You're like, wait, whatever it is, ebuji collect, sort this out and move on. Kama huyu aliweza ku move on from that, you can also do it. Because the moment you start beating yourself down and say, mimi shida yangu hata siku, but then you refuse to solve it, put it on the side, another one will come. Utaiongezea pale. Before you know it, now it becomes a mountain. Now you can't deal with it. Unaona, unaanza vitu zinaanza kukurarukia, unapata mtu anatembea hapa nje, unajiita mkutano hapa nje kwa barabara, people hawakuelewi. Unaona?
I talk to myself all the time.
I've done it for years na niko
what I can say is I have also been self-employed since I was 12 years old. So sometimes I'm in a board meeting.
Yeah.
Because I'm the CEO, the CFO, the COO, and all the C's.
All the C's that you know in the company.
In my organizations.
So please.
Ukiniona nikijiongelesha, nielewe.
Ako boardroom says.
Exactly, you know.
Some of the signs that we need to look out for when somebody is actually going through a mental moment.
Yeah.
Because I choose not to call it illness because it could be a moment just.
But it's still an illness, even though it's like this. Yeah, malaria is an illness. This is why it's so important to talk about mental health.
Yes.
As I said, the moment someone says mental, people take a negative
immediately
thingy. They interpret it negatively. You see, mental is just of the mind. Of the mind. It doesn't mean that you're ill. It doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? It's like someone atakutukana and you're mental. What is it? Come on, I have a mind. You have a mind.
I'm mental.
You know, exactly.
I'm happy.
You know.
I'm tired.
Yeah. So it's like this. Yeah. We need to normalize saying mental wellness, mental illness, you know. An illness is an illness. It doesn't matter the gravity of the illness. Someone might have stage 4 cancer. They have an illness. Someone might be an alcoholic. They have an illness. Someone might be substance abusing. They have an illness. Someone might have an eating disorder. They have an illness. Someone might have malaria. They have an illness. Migraines. Illness. You see what I mean? We're very happy to say illness when it's physical, but not when it's mental.
When it's mental.
Do you see? We should normalize talking about mental illness. However long it takes. If somebody breaks down, it's an illness. You know what I mean?
There's a time people were making fun of, there's a time it hit the net that people were like, I'm taking a mental health day off. People are going up in arms. Kwani. And I'm like, yeah, you need a mental health day off because if you're stressed, you're going through all these emotions, you're going through all these changes. Maybe you've moved from one county to another. You need to deal with that. There's a lot of emotions happening inside, but you're not allowed to deal with it because you're being bougie and being extra. Nani, on your health. Be bougie, be extra, be as extra as you can because that's the only life.
Don't listen to people who tell you that if you say you've got, if you're stressed or whatever, they say to you first world problems. It's your problem. It's valid. End of story. Yesterday, my son said to me, he said, "Mommy, do you know that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach? You know that feeling like you're anxious, you know?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You know, it's like sometimes you just feel it for no reason." I said, And he said, "Well, now I feel it a lot, you know, for no reason." And obviously he couldn't articulate, he's 15, but he couldn't articulate the fact that he's anxious, you know. And I said to him, well, it's not a wonder that you might be feeling that way because there's a lot going on with you right now. You're growing, your hormones are raging. You're growing all the time. You're not understanding the world. You're becoming an adult. You're still a child. People want to treat you like you're an adult because of how tall you are. He's 6'1". Amenza kumea ndevu, you know. So he looks like an adult, but he's still a child, you know. And I said to him, it's your he's doing his GCSEs this year. I said, well, it's your GCSE year. It's an uncertain year because right now they're doing what would be their mocks, but because of what's going on in the world, that might actually be his final score. Do you see what I mean?
There's a lot of reasons.
Exactly. So that might be his actual score. So he's like, okay, fine, I'm not ready. You know, what if I don't do well? This time I was planning for it to be for my revision, and yet right now, what I do now will determine whether I go do the A levels that I want or not. And I'm doing this 3 or 4 months earlier than I was supposed to do it. Do you see? So basically, it depends on what's happening in the UK. So, and also, he's thinking about going back to the UK, to another country where everything is uncertain. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Yes. And our children are anxious. Yeah. And when they come to us, we have to let them know the things that are happening in their lives. Yeah. Talk them through it. Because a lot of times they're not even aware what they're going through and how much it is. You see? Like now he's anxious. It's not a wonder that he's anxious. You know? Yeah. But it's like they need permission from us to say, oh, I'm not okay. Yeah. You know? Yeah. We can't be like, mtoto wako anakuja nakwambia, I'm a bit anxious. Like now, the candidates this year, they don't know what's happening to them. They were supposed to do their exams last year. Now, intake ya last year, this year tena, watu wengine wafanya exams. So they don't know whether they're not going to make it to university or into a college, because now we have 2 years in one intake.
Yeah. It's a mess.
You know what I mean?
It's a mess.
We have 2 in one, which means that there are people who will miss their spots. Yeah. So there's a lot of anxiety with our children. Again, this year, when you wanafanya exams, when you walikuwa standard 8, wengine tena wanaenda kufanya exam this year, intake ya form 1 inachukuliwa lini?
I tried looking at that calendar.
You see?
I was like,
so wow. What we have to think about is, if we can't even wrap our heads around it as adults, what about those children?
Yeah. It's a mess.
Where's that coming from? What about those young people?
So I tried looking at that calendar. I actually had to read it out loud to someone else so that they try and explain it, because I'm like, did that make sense to you? Because you don't get what's happening. Yeah. So
if like this, like we have to think about not just what we are going through, but what our children are going through from a very young age. Yeah. Because we have to remember that we've had an unprecedented year in our lifetimes. We have to read history for us to see years like what we've just had.
True. That's the kind of weekend I had.
And then some people will have to read history to realize what we were going through in that year. You know? And if we've survived that year, we should really look back and pat ourselves on the back and say, do you know what?
You made it.
I survived it.
Yeah.
You know?
We should allow our children, and as well teach them that there are these emotions, like being anxious is okay.
Yeah.
The things that make us anxious, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling and walk them through it. Because you can imagine, as an adult, you just being anxious gives you
malaria,
palpitations, no. So you need to allow them. You need to talk them through this, because this is a difficult season for everyone.
Yeah,
and no one knows what's happening. By the way, ask Trump.
It's not like the thing is, we never know what's happening.
Yeah.
However, now it's large scale.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's compounded.
Yeah.
And for those who watch the news, which I stopped watching years ago for my mental wellness,
it's just about
it's like every time you watch something, it's something is happening, and it's heightening our anxiety every day. So you can imagine, and especially for those who watch news with their children, it's like these children, or we talk about these things in front of our children, and I'm not saying don't. All I'm saying is, if you're going to, then be responsible enough to support them. Because watching news, talking about these things in front of our children is the same as watching a PG rated movie. It's rated PG so that you can sit with your child and the things that they don't understand, you can talk them through it. Parental guidance. When we watch the news, when our children consume the media showing them what's happening in America, in the UK, in Kenya, we should apply the same thing as PG. Everything our children are exposed to should be parental guidance.
Because they'll ask a question. Like my kids ask questions. Mom, why is you need to have an answer? If you need to go to the back room and Google, go to the kitchen and bring the salt as you Google. Because sababu maswali zinakuja. And that child is waiting for an answer.
And sometimes for me, I find that, of course, akiniuliza swali ya shule, lazima niende back room. But akiniuliza swali sijui, namwambianga, okay, listen, I don't know what this is, but let's sit down research it together, and then discuss it. You know, because it's good for our children to know that we're not the fountain of all knowledge. We see Mungu, we see Yesu, you know. So when you ask me a question, sometimes I don't know. And when I don't know, I say I don't know. So then we talk about it. And we discuss it. And then they realize that, and as they grow older, they learn how to research things for themselves in a responsible way. You know what I mean? Because when we tell them just go Google it, sometimes they go type some vitu wanaona vitu zingine fake one.
I know. So then you can't explain the questions that come after that.
Yeah. So like I read a quote that really made me feel more calm. And it's by Tom I never know how to say his name, Bill or something like that. I will copy and paste it on the comment section. And basically what he's saying is, and for those who might want to seek help, I have
posted the money center.
I've put the money center over there. So basically what Tom is saying is, don't look at yourself through the lens of the moment. See yourself over time. This will allow you to see. This will allow you to see how far you have come, how far you've come from, and how far you can go.
Hello.
You know. Hello. So basically, don't just look at yourself like Leo angalia paliniko. Be kind to yourself and ask yourself, what have I actually done in the last 10 years? How far have I come as a person? You know what I mean? And that way, you can really look at your life and say, nimetoka far,
and I've achieved so much.
Exactly. Yeah. Because sometimes you feel like it's all coming down on you. You know? You feel like it's all caving in. You feel like you can't breathe. You know? And that's why, you know, like people say about social media this and social media the other. And I say to myself, I say, do you know what? Things like Facebook and all those places that remind you this is where you were at this time. Aki saa zingine ninakukumbusha tu zingine unajiuliza guy, Aki, what was I thinking right at that? And I've come a very long way because I don't think like that anymore.
Exactly.
Or if it's fitness goals, you look at yourself and you think, wow, you know? Like sometimes I look at some of my photos and I'm like, wow, I was that big. You know what I mean? What got me there? And I look back and I think about the psychological trauma and all the stuff that I dealt with, that I had very, very, very bad, extremely bad postnatal depression. And I always say to people that my postnatal depression and the subsequent, you know, sort of effects of it ended my marriage, you know. Maybe it was supposed to end anyway, but it was a driving factor, you know, towards it. I wasn't even aware that I was depressed.
You're depressed.
I was too busy to realize that I was depressed, to acknowledge the fact that I was depressed. You know what I mean? It's like I had my baby in uni. So for me, I had my child when people were doing the exams. I had mimi hata depression ilikuwa nini? Yani ilikuwa luxury. You know? It was a luxury for me to say like I'm having a baby. Mimi hata sikuwa nasema hivyo. I wasn't even aware in my head at the time that I could be, you know, because I didn't have time to feel, to even feel my feelings. I was eating to suppress.
Man.
You know what I mean? But I didn't even realize I was doing that until much later. Until I started taking stock and saying, I need to take control of my life. And that's why it's so important to write it down. Because when you write it down, you can start checking. Check. Okay, niko na hii kitu inanisumbua. Check. If it's financial, how can I deal with it? Check. Kama ni watoto wangu, how can I deal with it? Check. If it's a spouse, how can I deal with it? Check. And really prioritize your mental health. Because I found that, come on, last year, how was it last year for you?
Mentally? Or just all around?
You're mental, isn't it?
I don't know if mind-boggling is it, because my mind was shredded. The things I went through last year, like the emotions, at some point I didn't even know how to deal with myself, kwa sababu umefurahi lakini umekaa hapo unalia, uelewi unalia nini, you're there, you're shit, man.
I don't know what to do with
I'm happy but I'm crying. I don't know why I'm crying. Yeah. But me 2020 ilikuwa afadhali. Ungeuliza ile 2020 ilianza 2017 ningekupatia jibu ingine.
It was another story.
It was a different story because you're there, like you said, you're eating to suppress.
Yeah.
Mimi nilikula ikafika mahali I couldn't eat anymore because now my body is rejecting. For some reason I couldn't keep anything down, so things were coming back out.
Yes.
And then I started sleeping. Chick, I would do like 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
Niko tu sawa. Like, so I'd only wake up so that I go prepare the kids' food, put it over there, tell them, guys, there's your food. At that time my daughter is 2. The boy was 3. Nilifatanisha hivi besti. So I put my food there and I'm like, guys, your food is over there. Mimi nimeenda pale, nimeenda kulala. And I'd pass out. Nikiamshwa na kidogo na kelele, nimeamka nasikia sijui aje. Oh, nini dema juu yako depressed. Nimekula, nimeacha kukula, sindio? Now I've started throwing up. Now I'm sleeping, I'm oversleeping. I've isolated myself. I never used to leave the house because like it was bad. My neighbors would call me, I would find a reason not to leave the house. I'm like, yo, I cannot. Of course, I was irritable AF. I would hear a child crying, I want to climb a wall because I'm thinking I cannot slap you because if I slap you, you will die. So I was like, no, they're not the problem. There's a problem, but they're not the problem. You don't know what the problem is. I knew what the problem was, but I was too scared to face it.
Yeah.
So you find that things are happening. I was going downhill. Mwendo wa
Aste.
Very fast. It was just like I was on I was just sliding downhill. Yeah. So you're there, things are happening, you're like, what is it doing nini? So it got to a point now the headache's checked in. I'm thinking, okay, headache, meza dawa. I'm like a whole week. Because normally, like for a pair of painkillers, I take one and it works. Yeah. But this time I'm taking a pair. Yeah. A pair like after a couple of hours, I'm like, this is not working. Yeah. Dr. Google. Persistent headaches, sijui sleeping, loss of appetite, misi wala nasemanga niko na malaria. Haya, possible causes, possibly depression, possibly what infection. You're given a list over there, but the first thing that was there was depression. Yeah. I was like, kumbe kitu inakuanga ukweli. That's what I thought, because I'm thinking, haya, kumbe this thing is real. Yeah. No. So like the moment I found that out, I actually looked at my surrounding. It was shit. I was living in a dump. My house was dirty. I stopped spreading my bed. My babies, I was like, so you have clean clothes. Cheers. No. So you can imagine your house is a dump. Like the kids, it got to a point, because I remember there's a time I was sleeping on the couch and I had the kids saying, the sister was making noise. Yeah, I can't do anything. So the boy goes like, shh, you know you're making noise for mom and she has a headache and she wants to sleep. Yeah.
Ukajua.
Yeah.
Rock bottom came and hit you.
It came and it tandaza itself nicely. Like chick. Lala hapa umefika. Yeah. Unaona. So I'm here thinking, okay. If this is what I'm doing to the kids, now I need my freedom yao, I'm taking the childhood away from them. Yeah. This is the mother I've become, this is the mother they're seeing. Yeah. And I'm thinking, what? Okay, I need to get out of this. Alafu plus umeenda Dr. Google ashakwambia mdame because depressed. Toka kwa space. I think the way they said the universe gives you everything checked in like this. Nimetoka tumeenda, I went for a walk nini, then my neighbor saw me. He told me, I've not seen you outside in more than 3 days. There's a problem. What's the problem? I was like, you guy, me, I'm fine. Oh, nini, Mizi. He was like, no, you're not fine. You're not. And he was much older, so he was like, no, you're not fine. He sat me down, spoke to me, nini. Finally, I opened up. I told him what the problem was, nini, what we were going through. And every morning from there, 7 a.m., call me. Where? Toka, teremka. Come, like he'd call me to his house to go and hang out with his wife because we were friends, like our families were friends. He was like, yo, leave the house. I'm going to work. Toka, come downstairs with the kids. There's breakfast. You guys come and commune with us. Yeah, I did that for like 2 weeks. It's like now I was resetting because someone saw me and I accepted that. Okay, there's a problem. I spoke about it, so it was easier to get out of that funk.
Yeah.
So I went. I realized the more I hung out with this lady, I spoke. Whatever I told. Yeah, my friend. And I stood upright. I was upright again. So like at least I was brighter and kanza kuonekana nje nini. And I saw a photo that we took with someone in the estate. I saw it. Oh my God, I cried. I saw myself through somebody else's eyes. I was like, shit. This is not me. This is not for me.
Yeah.
This is not how I'm raising my children. I am not going to live like this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes I always say I'm glad that happened because now I know, because I used to see it happening to people but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But now if I can, I find a way.
Yeah.
I find a way because I'm like, what? You're going through something.
Yeah.
Kama naweza kumsumbua tu at least tu nimtoe tu kwa hiyo space. Toka twende shop.
Yeah.
Toka twende tuka sijui, let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's do something because I'm like, somebody got me out of that space.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it is to get out of this space. Sometimes you need to be yanked out of it.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine this guy was firm with me. He told me,
yes,
you're that guy. We know you and we see you all the time and we know how you are.
And this is not you.
This is not
and
you.
You need to get out of it. Yeah.
So like sometimes it needs tough love.
Yeah.
It needs tough love. You're like,
I think if somebody's going through certain stuff like that, it almost always needs tough love. No, it always needs tough love.
Because imagine if I was a smooth talker.
Not as evil. If you think about it, like somebody who is substance abusing or needs help, maybe needs to go into like an institution, we really need to come out in our numbers and say, enough is enough, you have a problem, intervention, time unaenda rehab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we need to care enough. Or listen, if you keep doing that, I'm out. And if they care enough about whether you're in or out, they will make it,
that
will jolt them.
Yes, they'll be
into,
like, wow.
or really show them. Exactly. You know?
Exactly.
I've been in a place where I literally just fed my son, made sure he went to school, and again, if I wasn't going to work, went back to bed. Like, and then I'd come out, cook, make sure that he had food for when he came back from school. Na akitoka shule, akishakula, I'm in my own world, he's in his own world. But then I always know when I'm depressed because I've been depressed since I was a teenager. I have been battling depression for almost all my life. You know what I mean? So for 3/4 of my life now. You know what I mean?
And you're knowing how to manage it now.
I know the signs. Yeah. Exactly. Now I'm in my 40s. I can say that I'm beginning to know when to say no.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to know when to say enough is enough. I don't want that situation because it's going to take me back where? There.
Exactly.
I remember one time my son was misbehaving. Yani alikuwa tu ameamua ako problem child. Nilimwambia my son, let me tell you something. Mimi nimetoka mbali na hii akili yangu. Now where you're taking me, I don't want to go there. So I must tell you that I have to love me more than I love you. Yeah. And this is what we need to do. We need to let everyone in our circles, whether they're your children, your spouse, whoever, know that you love yourself more than you will ever love them. And because you have to love yourself more than you love anyone else for you to be able to give of yourself.
It's true.
Because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others? People? Yeah. How are you going to take care of your home? How are you going to take care of your job? How are you going to take care of your children? How do you do that if you can't take care of yourself?
People, Take time. Jipende ndio upende watu wengine. You can't give from an empty cup. You cannot. It will never happen. Labda umpatie tu kikombe alafu sasa wewe ushuke because me see understand.
Umpatie kikombe uje la.
Yeah.
So basically, you had.
Yeah. Sorry, we didn't read the list.
No, just read the list.
I'm just reading the list. Yeah, these are some of the signs or symptoms of mental illness.
Yeah.
If anxiety, long-lasting sadness, irritability, mood swings, social withdrawal, sana. If you see somebody going through those, samahani, ingia kwa space yao kidogo uanze kuangalia nini.
Usingie kwa I'll come out of it in 4 days.
In fact, for Night Atieno, check in. Because a lot of times you'd find that person who's going through all these things, they don't know that they're that irritable. Wanajua tu wako na mood mbaya.
No, but the thing is, all these things can also be signs of having a period.
Si ndio hiyo sana nikuenda kusema for women, most of the times it'd be like, I'm PMSing. You've been PMSing for 4 weeks.
Exactly. That's what we were talking the other day about the makasiriko
ati
at long term.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. And then again, types of mental disorders: anxiety disorders, eating disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and personality bipolar. Bipolar is a thing. Kwangi kitu ya kujiwekelea. Kuna mtu nilisikia aliingiliwa mahali akaambiwa hiyo ni ya kujiwekelea, si ya kujiwekelea.
Was it jekelea mental illness? Who wants to stand out and be called names and be ridiculed and be ambiwad you're this cantankerous witch? Who wants any of that stuff? or you're an unstable guy, or what is wrong with you? Nobody wants that. You know what I mean? So when people are having mental illnesses, let's just be kind. Or even when we're going through shit ourselves, let's just be kind to ourselves and realize that there's something happening.
You can help them. Know? You can help them. How can you help them? Help them to eat well. Dark leafy veggies, nuts, legumes, fruits, veggies. Keep them active. Toa mtu mwambie niaje. Let's go for a walk. Twende Elixa, twende tu workout kidogo tu nini. Mlipe hata Elixa kuja massage kando kidogo, unajua kai vizuri toa hii this toxic maneno zitoke kwa mwili, unajua. If they're drinking, help them to reduce their drinking, keep them away from the drink. Find a way. There's always a way. If they're not asking for help and you've noticed something, offer your help. No.
And sometimes you don't have to offer help. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, do you know what, let's go for a hike. Do you know what, there's a friend of mine who's having something. You know this friend is a positive influence. You know this friend doesn't drink. So there's a friend of mine who's having a party. It's a teetotal thing, but they're good people. Let's go. You might meet somebody. You might learn something. If you have a single friend who drinks a lot because they're single, mpeleke pali kuna other single people. You know what I mean? We don't always have to point out to somebody that I know you're going through shit. Sometimes you can bring them out of it by removing them from from that environment, by engaging them in different things. Kama besti yako kuna shida ya pesa na unaona ako na shida ya pesa, muoneshe other ways of maybe saving money, of getting out of debt, of share stuff like that with them.
Positive stuff.
You know what I mean? Sit with them, talk about stuff that you've learned yourself. Talk about developments that you're going through that you can encourage them to go into, ventures that you can do together. You know, zenye hazita kuletea hasara. You know what I mean? So there are different ways of supporting people without telling them that I know you're going through problems, so come here, let me help you. Nobody wants to feel like a charity case. You know what I mean?
Never ever.
But people want to feel supported. You know, if it's somebody you've known for a while, then you need to look and see, how do they like to be supported? Do they like to be left alone but shown that I care, I'm here? Send them messages, like literally just tell them that, you know what, if you want to come over, come over. Ooh, I'm in the neighborhood, can I pass by? If they say no, I'm busy, then that's fine. But then keep offering so that they know that that offer is there. Usichoke, you know.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's
So hebu tuendelee na hiki nakwambia. Anyway,
it's not personal real quick.
Nah, there's nothing personal. It's always personal, because if we don't share our own, then when we share our stories and we tell people what we've been through, very often it gives other people who don't feel they have permission to talk about their stuff permission to talk about their stuff. It gives them the courage to also share. You know what I mean? So basically 5 ways to mental well-being, to basically creating your balance.
Yes.
Connect with other people, you know, ongea na watu, nini, play board games with your family, eat lunch together, whether with your colleagues, with your family, eat supper together, volunteer. You know, volunteering is volunteering is so good, because number one, it helps other people, and helping other people makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Usikwe tu mtu wa kutumia watu email, sijui text messages, sijui forwards. Mimi kwanza watu wakunitumia forwards alafu wana imagine ati wame nini na mimi by the way acha nikwambie kitu kinitumia forward, mimi ufanya hivi na archive. If that's the only communication that you have with me, I archive. I don't even care how relevant it is, how irrelevant it is. If you never even just say hi, I think this would be relevant to you. Archive, you know. Being physically active helps in more ways than one. You know, you can find free activities like joining a local running club, starting one yourself with people in your local you know. Find out how other things that happen in your area. Go dancing, go listen to music, you know. Even just go for a walk by yourself. You know what I mean? So you don't have to do so much. Like honestly, 30 minutes a day is more than enough. You know what I mean? Learn a new skill. You know, something that you've always wanted to do. If you can't cook very well, cook with your family, cook with your friends, cook for your friends, or at the weekend. Invite watu. Wambieni wase, leo nataka kupaint nyumba, kujeni mnisaidie. Si hata mkujeni mnisaidie. Kujeni to paint. Let's eat, have some duo, whatever, you know. Even if you're drinking, have a drink, paint your house.
An excuse to celebrate.
Do some DIY together, do some gardening, you know. It's something that Shona, kama umetaka kushona always. You know, Shona, you know, like giving to others, you know, like if you have a talent that you can share with other people, you know, it always makes you feel good, you know, and especially in the community, you know what I mean? Start not a self-help group, but start a group where people can talk,
like a support
you know,
group.
exactly. Because when you start stuff like this, you know, I say to people all the time, doesn't matter what other business I have, I always have a fitness business. Always. Why? Because it keeps me accountable and it keeps me active. In December, one of my clients said to me, "Hey, National Squeeze unanona, mimi nani challenge." Challenge accepted. And I promise you, if you look at my photo in December and you look at my photo now, there's a difference. You know what I mean? But doing stuff like that in the community that helps you stay accountable to your goals, to your values, is really good, because not only are you helping other people reach their goals, whatever it is, whether it's financial, physical, or whatever, but you're also keeping yourself grounded, you know? And also, exactly.
She took it positively.
That's
and made it work for you, because you're like, okay, this is a challenge. I shall challenge myself in this year period that the world goes to stand still.
Morning. So another thing we have to remember is stay in the now. You know what I mean? Yesterday is gone. You know, if there's something you can change about yesterday that will help you tomorrow, then that's fine. But nobody knows tomorrow.
True.
You know what I mean? So being anxious about tomorrow, except if you have an exam. So you know, so being anxious about tomorrow is a surefire way of keeping yourself anxious. You know, because you're missing today. Yes,
because you're busy thinking about tomorrow. So everything and anything that happens today, you won't experience.
It's like you have a 7-year-old and you're already anxious about them going to university, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, this one hasn't even got to study.
It is not even a teenager yet.
I'm already anxious about university. You know what I mean? About how I'm going to lose my child, about how I don't know if they're going to smoke bangi, about how I know if they're going to turn into a drunkard. We're anxious about you know, like 10 years from now.
If you're planning, you're saving for them, it's fine. Lakini, don't do usiwa fast forward, enjoy, because you're not going to be able to enjoy the 7-year-old. You're not going to be able to enjoy the teenager. The teenager. Hapo nimewaachia sijafika huko bado. So
no, but to be honest with you, well, all I can say to parents is, let me tell you, if you invest time in your teenagers, in your children, not teenagers, let me tell you, by the time they're teenagers, it's too bloody late. It's too late.
Start from,
you know, if you invest from the moment they're babies, like literally, what many parents don't realize is, you have a 7-year window. 7 years, the first 7 years. Because we go, as humans, we go in 7-year cycles. Your first 7 years are the years are yours. You're given by nature. 7 years. This child, it doesn't matter what anyone tells them, before that within that first 7 years, my mommy or my daddy said there is nothing anyone else. So if you want to instill good values, if you want to teach your children anything, you've got that first 7 years. Ikienda sana mpaka 9. A very sheltered child up to 10. But after that, my friend, peer pressure. You have given your child to the world. After that is parental guidance. You know, it's not now you putting things in, is you reacting to what's going in from other angles.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you missed your window.
Exactly.
So now you're like
no. It doesn't matter if you missed your window or not. It doesn't matter how good a job you did in that first 7 years or 9 years. It doesn't matter. What then happens is sources. There is now input from other sources. Now your job comes from away from teaching them to now putting out fires. Put out fires. Mommy! What is the BMI in the bedroom? Mommy! How do you cook this? Mommy!
How did I come to this world?
Mommy! How are babies made? Mommy! How do you know, I saw somebody akikojoa pale nje. See, that's the BMI. Why don't you go and tell that person not to kojoa hapo nje? You know. So now so now, that second lot of 7, you still have an element of guidance. Nakwambia wakifika 14,
just my son came to me and told me, Mom, I think when I'm 10 years old, I'm going to get a phone. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Fabs, collect yourself. Yes. Why 10? Why do you feel you need the phone when you're 10 years old? So that I can call my friend. There's his bestie. I'm like, ni jirani yako lakini upigiwe simu is fine. Because so that I can call my friend when we want to come out and play. I know if he's going to come out or he's still taking his time. I was like, oh, okay. So how are you going to get that phone? Told me, I'm going to save. I was like, bas, cheers. Right answer. Like in 10, Buddha, utatoa wapi do? Like,
I want to focus. Kyle, I believe you will have that phone and man, you will buy it by yourself. Don't worry. Next year, me and you are starting a business.
It's like, I'm going to save and I'm going to buy a phone that can take photos that we can video call. I was like, bruh.
Smartphone. Like where Apple maze.
Yes, don't know Android.
Anyway, so like basically these are like 5 things that we can do to improve our wellness. You know, our mental wellness. You know, so when we the closest person to us is our spouse. Our spouses. You know, and we talk about this all the time about how, and this is so important about understanding our mental health, our mental wellness, and practicing it if you can together from the very early stages. You know, starting to explain to each other. I feel like this because kila mtu alizaliwa kwao. You've come together, you don't know, you will never fully understand the extent of somebody's trauma. Never, ever, ever. Because it doesn't matter how much they explain it to you, what they felt is very different. Two people can experience the exact same thing. But then one of them will be traumatized and the other one will be energized.
Be like,
You know what I mean? If somebody has serial killer tendencies, you can watch the same program that will traumatize you, and the other person will feel motivated.
Sadly, like some boy who's become a, what do you call it? He's in the
infamous
spotlight now because of that.
Yeah, because he murdered half his family.
Kwanza, he said he watched it from movies. I'm like,
no, but the thing is, so that's just
people are missing the major thing, because when his uncles were being interviewed, they said he was a quiet boy.
Yeah,
like that was the red flag right there. I
love
people like it was sudden. Yeah, it was sudden. Like he changed.
It's never sudden. Someone's done something to this child.
Yes, because the uncle said suddenly the family started talking to him badly.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
something happened. Like, you've traumatized this person,
and we can already
you've traumatized this child to the point where he's wishing you dead. And now you've pushed him to the, I'm not excusing what he did, I'm just saying, people, let us really take care of our children, and especially the boys.
Yes.
Because in our African setting, you must be a man. They're not men. They are little boys.
Children.
You know what I mean?
Raise them, guide them.
Kuna boy alikuwa ananiambia juzi, like in December. Alikuwa ananiambia ati babake alikuwa anamchapa mangumi, anamwambia wewe ni mwanamume, I have to toughen you. No. And you know, we talk a lot about sexual violence and all of these things, and physical violence indeed, and there are organizations out here really doing some good, amazing work with people from gender and sexual based violence. I am going to put in the comments Usikimia that I have been championing now for a couple of months. They're doing some amazing work. So whether you can help them with donations, whether you can help with volunteering, whatever it is that you can do to help this amazing organization doing amazing work that our government should be doing. Waheshimiwa, kwanza female representatives, sijui wanajita ma female reps, mnatuangusha vibaya sana.
Kazi yenu na
kuangusha wanawake. The thing is, awangushi tu wanawake, wanaangusha a whole nation. Because as your female representatives, you are our mothers. You are the example of the mothering our nation should be having. And if you can't raise us above this thing that the men have been doing, because all those men up there, they're just little boys doing dramas. But for us mothers, we should know better. We should raise a better nation. And the fact that we've been given a third of seats in what and a third of seats in what, this thing should be like we should be feeling the effect of it now. You know, but we're not. Pia nini mnaingia tu huko, mnaendelea tu mnaingia boys club.
Rubbish politics. Anyway, unakuta boys club uko na masigas. It's nonsense.
Anyway,
do your job.
You can do what you want in your own personal time. But guys, let us. Mimi juzi nimeona ati sijui a kid was defiled. She was 14 and the guy was an equad. He was caught red mkoko. So yes, so it's a fact, he did it. And so he's been amesha arrestiwa kila kitu, and then some guy comes there and says, oh Atieno, you people should stop spoiling people's names. You are the problem. Men who think like that are the problem.
You're the thorn in this flesh, Nani.
You know, like there's a time niliandika, not all men are need, or not all men are rapists, not all men are abusers, but if you are an apologizer, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, you are part of the problem. Kwa sababu huyu anaharibiwa jina aje. This is a rapist, this is a pedophile.
Kama mwizi ashikwe, alafu wewe useme huyu ni mwizi alishikwa kibai kitu. Why is it that we are happy to accept mwizi bila kuonyeshwa kile aliiba. Mtu tu kiwika mwizi kwa hii country toka mbio kwa sababu unajua kwa taya. Why is it that mwizi mtu ameiba chakula anaweza uliwa na taya, anachomwa, na mtu mwenye anadefile watoto bado tunasema we want evidence. Yeah, hapa hivi mtu ameshikwa live red na mtoto, you know, na bado tunauliza wapi evidence? Na mtu akilia mwizi, mtu ameiba handbag kitu hata maybe ilikuwa tu na diaper chafu, basi mtu anachomwa. People, we need to wake up,
review. You need to sit down, review, jiite mkutano ujiulize.
We need to wake up and see what traumas we are inflicting on our children. When our children come and tell us that somebody touched me, vibaya, believe them.
Yes.
Our first instinct should be to believe them. Because as an adult, number one, why are you putting yourself in a situation where this child can even go and say this?
Yeah.
Ulikuwa unafanya nini na wewe mtoto kwa hiyo room peke yako?
Bas. Na wewe mtoto kwani ni chizi atoke kule ametoka akuja aseme kitu kama hiyo? Uncle nani, auntie nani touched me like this.
It's true that children can be coached to say things.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. Children can be coached to say somebody did something to them, but it's so rare. It is so rare, and it's the same as cases of rape. Yes, some women lie about being defiled or being sexually abused or in some of that stuff. However, the amount of people, and the thing is, guys, ladies, men, because men are also abused, you know. If it hasn't happened to you, what you're doing is you're taking the credibility away from the people it actually happens to. Mtu kama hajakupiga kwa relationship, usiende hapa kusema umepigwa. You know, because what happens then is we stop the people who actually need to be safe, are in an unsafe situation, from getting help. You know, hapo ndo sasa tunaenda kuulizwa wewe kwa nini alikuchapa. We should really stop normalizing. Mimi juzi I literally had to go at someone katikati ya barabara. Yes, he was drunk, but what he was saying was wrong. He was saying, kwani mimi mjinga kama mwanamke nipikie mtu ugali?
Wow.
And people were laughing, all men, all women, and I told them all off. I literally nilisema wacha nikae mwenda wazimu, but this has to stop. It has to stop. We cannot have people speaking about women like that. It's like, it's the language of genocide. It's the language of abuse. If you belittle someone so much that other people see them as less than a human being, then the society gives you permission to beat them. The society gives you permission to kill them. If what women are seen as is as property, then now it's the same as in America when black people were seen as property, and less than a third of a human being. So it was okay to lynch black people. It was okay to stone them to death. It was okay to whip them to death. It was okay to hang them upside down until they died. It was okay because they were less than human. You know, and it's the same thing in our society. If we don't start seeing children and as people who are vulnerable in our society that we need to protect, then we are going to traumatize the next generation like we were traumatized. What are we actually doing as a black nation? We cannot scream Black Lives Matter when they don't matter in Africa.
If your neighbor is being punched each and every day, na uko hapo unasema Black Lives Matter, which Black Lives Matter?
Mimi huwezi nipata American Embassy nikiimba Black Lives Matter.
And then you get shot for who?
Hapa hivi, Matter, ilikuwa Matter mimi ilikuwa wapi? Nairobi Women's. Ni wapi pale ule mtoto ule mama alizaa mtoto akakufa nje ya nini?
Mwani. No. Hapana.
Hata sitaki kuita hospitali kwa sababu it was one of those hospitals where women are supposed to go for help. This woman gave birth outside even, and wanaume walikuja kumsaidia. Wamama mnapiga umi. Come on people. You know. Come on.
Do something.
What are we doing?
Because the
moment you do nothing about something, you're part of
nothing
the
is going
problem.
to change, yeah.
The moment we hear men trivializing and making women smaller than what they are, the moment you see a man in a bar dealing with a barmaid in a way that she's uncomfortable, and say nothing,
grabbing her, even calling her names or talking to her in some type of way.
The moment we don't speak up for the women in whichever walk of life in our society is the moment we normalize abuse. The moment we see somebody abusing a child and we say nothing. Someone said to me the other day, and I was very upset with this person. Akaniambia ati kuna mtu hapa hivi kwa esto yetu, si hapa huko pale anaishi mwenye it's come to their attention that he's abusing children, and now he's got to the point where he's touching people in public.
What?
You see, and I say to people, and I said to him, listen, nyinyi kama wanaume wa hiyo mtaa mumeona huyu mtu, akasema mimi siku ile nilimwona, nilimrushia mawe akakimbia. Nikamwambia lakini ulimrushia mawe akakimbia na tarudi hapo. Sasa vile wewe hauko. You see, you have whether you have children here or not is neither here nor there, but you have 2 daughters. 9 and 10. You're not always chaperoning these 2 daughters. You saw this person grabbing a teenager. And it's been rumored that he's also trying to defile younger and younger, because obviously the younger they are, the smaller they are, the easier the target. You know, why is this person still in your community when you've seen with your eyes and other people have seen with their eyes what he does in public? Imagine if he has the guts to do that in public in the name of, he's drunk. Imagine what he's doing in private when you lot are not watching.
Unakumbuka ile ulikuwa unasema mnamaga mafuta na wakisha
mazima
unamaga mafuta unawakisha. I think I'd burn his toes to his ankles.
For me,
I
feel that we should always make every attempt to let the law take its course and follow it up. The biggest thing we need to do is remove these people from our communities and make it so difficult for them to live in any community. Like that lady who was killed a couple of weeks ago because her husband was beating her. The people from the team from Usikimia tried to help, and the husband moved her away. Now her youngest child is 6 months old. No, 6 months
still an infant,
So this child is now growing without a mother or a father. You know what I mean? So it's like mama yake amekufa, ameuliwa na baba yake na baba yake anapelekwa jela because they're going to follow this up. You know? So what are we doing letting such people still be in our society? What are we doing? You know?
Tulimuona ukamrushia mawe. Go report. Enda ugonge jirani yako report.
Ukistaki mtu ati utamvunjia nyumba, no. Huwezi acha mtu avunjwe juu ati utamvunjia nyumba. Vunja hiyo nyumba.
All those 40 houses in that mtaa, 39 of you, and then report. Kama those are 39 reports.
Na kudili nayo. Chapeni wetu justice, hao makarao wakuja wa deal na nini as a community.
Exactly. Kwa sababu those are 39 reports. Mumeenda mmeitana, like every person go report. There's a pedophile in our estate, he's touching children, he's behaving like this, is a nuisance. Hakuna kitu mnafanya.
Wewe na frogmachi wangu, huyo ripoti wangu bila kupeleka. Huyo na frogmachi wangu, mnamgoja tu mnamfrogmachi mnapeleka. Mnambeba hivi na rasa. Hivyo.
Because it gets to a point the cops actually see this guy, they're like, hey, yeah, this person is a problem.
They have to do something.
We need to deal with this person.
Exactly.
Unaona?
And don't get tired of reporting. Report. Physical abuse, report. Sexual abuse, report. You know. And let's guys, if you have if you have sex with a child, it doesn't matter whether you're a teacher, whether you're a neighbor, whether you're an older cousin, whether you're an older uncle. If you have sex with a child, you're a
pedophile. Where
Sianza kujambia hapa huyo mtoto kwanza. Kuna mama mwingine aliandika comment nyingine hapo akikaribu nimwambie I hope someone catches you and rapes you. I don't wish things like this on people, but she said watoto wadogo kwanza vile wanakula chuma kuliko hata sisi wa mama. How
the fuck? The fuck?
How do wanawatanga boyfriends wao wa have sex na watoto wao?
Yeah. And then they go on beating the child.
Stop seducing me. Tunanivunjia nyumba. How?
Honey, no.
No, ladies, stand up.
Protect your child. Huyu ndio wako. Huyu mwingine anaweza enda. Unaona? Now what still ukiona they've already started showing those weird traits. Out ni nje. Na out ni nje ni nje ukienda kwa polisi ukienda kureport. Because it doesn't make sense. Yesterday I saw a story. There's this family, I don't know what happened to the mom, but there's no mother in that family. So there's a dad and 3 daughters. The eldest is 8. This child has never seen the door of a school. Babake amemweka nyumbani, he defiles this child. Yani amekuja amemweka kama bibi yake. Akaona itoshi mboga, akasonga kwa mwingine. The other is I don't know 5.
Yeah, they go younger.
Yeah, 8, 5. I think the other one was 3 or something. The 8-year-old has never been to school.
Yeah.
Lakini amekwa nyumbani is being defiled over and over and over. Mpaka I'm like, when ni baba ya watoto? Nyinyi watu wenye mko hapo kwa community, mnaona huyu mtoto anafaa kwa shule, at least anafaa kwa class 2. Kwa nini haendi shule? Hizo ni maswali mnafaa muulize. There's public schools, there's free education. Free kwangi very free.
It's not free, but
free is not very free, but because it's a thing. Ukiona kuna mtoto kwa community na endi shule, go and report kwa chief. The chief will come and sort it out. Nyinyi mmekaa mnaona huyu mtoto amekaa hapo na leo mtoto exactly mnaona unajua amemchukua amemweka kama bibi yake.
How do you even like people, come on, let's have some social responsibility.
Exactly.
This is a baby, 8 years old. Very soon we will have this child having her father's child.
Yes.
Because she's now she's becoming prepubescent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Imagine at 9, 10 she gives birth.
Yeah.
Now she's given birth to her brother or sister.
Yeah. But sisi wote tunaangalia na tunaongea.
Unajua mchukua amemweka kama bibi yake. Huyo ni mtoto na ako na wenzake wadogo.
The fact that you even open your mouth to say that you're part of the problem.
Part of the problem.
Wewe ndio shida, in fact kubwa kuliko hata huyo mtu mwenye anafanya hiyo tabia. Because we have the power to do something about it.
It's a mess. Don't keep quiet. Like literally, Ukembo, Usikime, do not.
Guys, there are organizations out here. Usikime is doing amazing work at the moment. Really, really amazing work. Please check it out. It's in the comment section of this today's program.
Be your brother's keeper.
Let us be our children's protectors, not even just our brother's keepers. Let us protect the next generation, because this generation is growing up at a really difficult time. Now, there was a county that they had 11,000, almost 12,000 young girls of school-going age, teenagers pregnant. Now they are opening schools just for pregnant mothers. Come on, people! When are we going to get fed up?
How you normalize?
Why are we letting a whole generation get lost? How are they going to raise these children? We know that in this country, sawa wataekwa shule ni sawa, lakini akimaliza hiyo shule anamaliza shule na a 3 or 4 year old, where now they have to provide for this child and the government is not giving them any assistance.
People, I don't know how you're not seeing anything wrong with this. I do not understand how you people are not seeing how wrong this is. People, we need to style up. We need to style up. You know, there's an old man, there's an old woman who's taking children and our as you like to call it. Call out these people. Vunja hiyo nyumba huo mtu vile mnasema ati mnamvunjia nyumba. Vunja hiyo nyumba. We should get angry now. I saw that feature. I didn't understand what I was watching. We should get angry now. A feature on what? The teenage moms in the schools. Ati after class ukimaliza naenda nachukua mtoto naenda na. We should start getting angry. And then you go back to. We should get angry as a nation.
And we will keep looking for ways of letting you guys know how to help these children. But for now, there's usikimia, and for the people who have gone through this, please speak to somebody.
Yeah.
There's help out here. We will keep looking for organizations that can help. We will keep looking for other ways of getting free help, free good quality help, because it's not just about free help.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in this free help, you find that these people have already been traumatized, and also again they go there and somebody defiles them even further, because now you've been abused physically and now they're abusing you psychologically, which in most cases is even worse. Guys, those who have had the courage to walk away, please stay walking. And if you can't do it on your own, there are organizations out here who will help you. Let us not have another Cynthia Accord on our hands. Cynthia was killed by her husband at 19 and left a couple of babies, the youngest one 6 months old. Let us not have that. Let us stop normalizing children being raped by adults, by young adults, by 18-year-olds, by 19-year-olds, by, let us stop normalizing this.
It's not normal. Do not allow
this is wrong, and
normal.
as a nation, we should now start getting angry. I don't even understand why we're not angry yet after 2020 venye watoto wetu
unaambiwa kwa hii kijiji imebakia wasichana tu wawili tu ndio hawajashika mimba.
Na hao si ati kwa sababu they haven't been defiled, it's probably because they just didn't get pregnant.
Yeah.
So people, please, if you find the courage to walk away from these situations,
angalia mbele ukienda.
There are organizations out here like Usikimie that will help you to start afresh. We will keep looking for other organizations, but this one is a big one, and not a big one, but a good one in Nairobi at the moment. They're doing some really good work, and they're showing their results. You know what I mean? They're sharing their results so that we stop this stigma of not talking about people being abused. We stop this stigma of, and especially, let's take care of our young men. Because if we don't take care of our young men, then we're raising abusers. We're breeding abusers. When we abuse our men, we are breeding abusers. When we tell our men not to feel anything, we are breeding abusers. When we don't teach our young men how to treat young women or women in general, how to respect women, then we are breeding abusers. So guys, let us not forget that not taking care of the boy child is not an option. Because that is where the problem starts.
Girl child ametetewa, lakini don't forget about the boy child. Pay attention to that boy. There's things he's going through. As much as he's a boy, he's going to grow into a man. He's a human being with emotions, feelings, stress za kawaida za maisha pia wanaona. Unaona? So address them, walk them through these things, teach them, guide them. Because they didn't send applications to be born ati kama ni mwanaume, na hata kama ni mwanaume si ni katoto kadogo. See, eventually ata grow, and the man they turn out to be depends on this child and how this child has been raised. So it all depends on you as the parent and as a community, how this child is raised, what this child is taught hapa chini, blueprint yake hapa chini, template ile anaoneshwa hapa chini ndio ita determine huku mbele. Unaona? That's why you see there's how does a person just take his 3 children and watoto wake anawafungia kwa nyumba, defiling them? This person
who gave birth to these children,
he's the biological dad.
But where's the mom?
I don't know, I didn't get that part because I tried to see, because I'm like, if the youngest is 3,
and where are the other relatives? Because if he's doing this, the other relatives are aware.
Ndio wale wanasema unajua amemchukua amemuoa. So you
cannot marry your child.
You can't marry your child. Haiwezi na yani hakuna side.
Not just your child, but any child. Kenyans, please. The world, not just Kenyans, but Africa at large, because this is not just a Kenyan problem.
Yes, it's world over.
Yeah. It is the problem in Kenya because apparently if you defile a minor in some places, you can marry them. No. No, just no. Tukataeni. Tujamini.
Haiwezi.
Let us castrate these people.
Haiwezi. Yeah.
That is my parting shot. And guys, be kind to yourself, because we've shared a few things that we can use to be kind to ourselves, but only in being kind to ourselves can we be kind to other people. Because if we cannot fill our cups, we have nothing to give. That's the end of it. Basically.
Usiji cheat.
Namaste.
Yeah. Take care of yourself, people. It's you first and then it's others. Kwa sababu kama wewe hauko, au wengine kidogo umewaachia mzigo.
And we are back here on Wednesday for biashara. And on Friday, for Makasiriko, don't worry, we will discuss it kinagaubaga. And we will talk about where the law sits in terms of these things and how we can, the process of reporting and what we can do. And I know, like, violence is not the answer, but sometimes, guys, it doesn't get in a bid. Spare the road. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been a bit heavy today, but sometimes in Abidi, we really have to have these conversations, because if we don't have them, then where do they start? You know, who will like, who will talk about it's on us. We now that we're like the people now in our 30s, 40s, 50s, we're the adults in this nation. It's on us. It's on us. The next generation is on us. By the way. What are we doing about the next generation? How are we raising the next generation? Nini tunawafundisha? You know, how are we protecting our children? So let's really think about that, because now the mantle imepitishwa kwetu. Ndio kuna wale wamekwamilia majob zao, wamekwamilia nini, wamekwamilia nchi, but let's think about, yes, we can't do a lot about what they're doing up there, you know, but we can do stuff about what's happening down here. We can't change a lot about how the country is run, but we can change a lot about how our communities are and how safe we make it for those less fortunate, for those vulnerable people in our societies. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's been real. Night Atieno,
AfroFabb. Amemfuata amechamba.
Chapping. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Love yourself. Hug yourself. Hug yourself.
Follow you, I'll Calvin Brown